everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So I'm working on the peacock's tail today. Yeah, the wing feathers that are in this pass are done, and I am now working on the wing feathers, which are quite large, sort of eye motif scales. Yeah. So we will see what I get today. It's not too intensely confetti heavy, so yeah, I feel safe saying that I will probably get to 76% this month. Should not be a problem. Yeah. Okay, need a new strand of thread. Yeah, it is a cooler day today, so I fired up my oven and I made cookies. I tried a new recipe, but they were not what I was hoping for. They're not bad, but yeah, they're not great. So I'm someone who doesn't like the cream part of the Oreo. I know, gasp, right? I find it too sweet. I like the cookie part and not the cream part. And they used to sell, at least in Canada, they used to sell just the wafers, the chocolate wafers. They were so good. I loved them. And I went looking for them recently and couldn't find them anywhere, and checked online, and yeah, they discontinued them a couple years ago, so I was very sad. So I went looking online to see if I could find something, and somebody had made a recipe with the Oreo crumbs, you know, the kind that you can use for making like the crust for cheesecake instead of graham crumbs. They're chocolate. And so I tried that, and yeah, they were not comparable in my opinion. Yeah, they told me to leave lots of room for the cookie to spread out, and they did not really spread out, except for one solitary cookie that I think probably had too much butter in it. Yeah, in comparison to like the rest of the cookies. And oh my goodness, I apologize, I don't know what that was. Something fell in my kitchen. Oh, anyway, yeah, they didn't the texture was not what I was hoping for. They were almost sandy, and yeah, I have a double chocolate cookie recipe that's like chocolate with chocolate chips in it, and I liked that one better. And I suppose I could make it without the chocolate chips if I wanted just a chocolate cookie, but yeah, it was not what I was hoping for, so I was rather disappointed. And I even burned myself right on my, yeah, I was putting in a pan of cookies and I did not open the door properly all the way, which I know I should have, but I didn't. And yeah, back of my finger touched it. Luckily, not very hard, and it didn't blister or anything. It's just sore, but yeah. So I was like, darn it. I said I suffered for these cookies and they weren't even what I was hoping they would be cracked up to be. So darn it. Yeah, like if I was going to get burned, you know, you'd hope it was at least like the best cookie ever, right? Would at least make it somewhat worth it, but nope. No such luck. So, yeah. Oh, well, you never know till you try, right? Yeah, my husband said they're good, and yeah, they're not terrible. They're a crumbly chocolate cookie, but they weren't really what I was hoping for, so yeah, I'm very sad that they got rid of those because they were so good. Yeah, everyone else is like, they want double stuffed Oreos and all that, and I'm like, no, I'm the weird person who doesn't actually like the filling. I find it just too overly sweet for my taste. Ooh. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe it's because it's minty. Somebody said, you know, yeah, eating a chocolate cookie, and you know what this is missing? Toothpaste. Ooh. Yeah, my husband and son like them. But yeah, I'm not a fan frosting part. Yeah, it was funny. I saw somebody said they had a picture where they had regular Oreo box and then double stuffed Oreo boxes. And he said he was waiting days for the cat, so that for the fat cat to sit in the double stuffed side and the thinner cat to sit in the regular side. And they're black and white cats. So yeah, it's perfect. I'm like, I wonder if either of the cats' names was Oreo. I know one of my friends, their guinea pig was white, black, and brown, and they called him S'mores, which was perfect. Yeah. Yeah, because I posted a picture of my piggy when she was still around, and she said, "Oh my gosh, she could be S'mores' identical twin," and then showed a picture of her piggy, and yeah, very similar coloring. Yeah. Buster was mainly white, but then she had black and brown. She had one black ear and one black foot. Oh, actually, I want my thread to go the other way, yeah, because I have to park this. There we go. Yeah, I said if I ever get any more guinea pigs, I'm going to name at least one of them Tribble. Because of the Star Trek Tribbles, yeah. I swear, I think they're based off guinea pigs. They purr and they're little round fluff balls, yeah. Yeah, guinea pigs need vitamin C supplementation, just like humans. We're like the only two animals they know about that cannot synthesize their own vitamin C and need to ingest it. Yeah. Yeah, and our piggy was quite picky about hers too. She would, we would buy these little vitamin C treats for her, and she didn't like most of them. I mixed them with her pellets, and she left them. Yeah. She would eat all the other pellets and leave those behind. She wouldn't touch them. And I tried putting some in her water, but she wouldn't drink it then. So, okay, fine. I was trying to draw that across the back because I find when it's super short, it's a little easier to maneuver to do that usually, but this time I did not want to. Yeah, so we had to feed her a lot of vitamin C rich foods for her veggies. It was funny too because I remember I gave her some orange and she kind of sniffed at it and kind of left it and didn't seem interested. I thought, okay, well, whatever. I'll just leave it in her cage for a while. And yeah, I came back an hour later and she had picked it clean. Yeah, there was just the rind left. She had eaten every last little shred of the flesh of the orange. So she did like it, but for some reason she didn't want me to see her eat it. Yeah. Yeah, she's been gone for a couple of years now. I still miss her. Yeah, she used to show up in my videos sometimes, her little squeaks behind the camera. Yeah, you would hear her begging for veggies sometimes. Okay. Yeah, it was a scorcher a few days ago, but now we don't even need the air conditioner or the heat on. Yeah. The ambient temperature is pretty much where we like to keep our house temperature, so it's a little cooler, but then that's part of why I chose to bake cookies today, because yeah, figured you don't want to do it when it's super hot. Add extra heat to the house. Yeah. fortunately, hasn't been too terribly smoky either. Yeah, so here's the bottom of this pass here. Yeah, row 440. And then my next pass will be at row 500. Yeah, once again, these colors here, I would have expected more brown, and they're very bright red and orange, but yeah, I've been happy with how the overall picture looks. Like I say, cross stitch tends to stitch up a little darker, I find, than the original art, and it hasn't been just this designer either. I had the same experience with my last project, the Majora's Mask. It's the same thing. Yeah, the figures that were in shadow were so purple, especially on their faces. I was a little nervous, but it turned out good. Yeah, so I didn't quite start at 0, but it was pretty close. I think I was like 20 or something like that. Yeah. Well, I got a late start because, like I said, I baked cookies, and then I was waiting till my son was done mowing the lawn because it's right outside the living room window there, and it gets quite loud, so yeah. Try to stitch when it's more quiet, although sometimes that's unavoidable because life, right? Yeah, I don't have a studio. I'm just doing this in my living room, so. Oh, my goodness, pardon me. Yeah, so I was saying the other day, my husband's work, they were getting ready for the local parade, and yeah, it turned out good. Yeah, my husband said they had the loudest music out of anyone. Yeah. He did a little patch with the GTO too. The music was actually loud enough you couldn't hear it. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it turned out nice. It didn't rain. It wasn't too overly scorching hot. So yeah, it turned out really well. Yeah, so I've got the center of the eye, and then I'm sort of that motif, and I'm working sort of the rest of the outside of this big feather, which is quite large. Yeah, it's over 4 big squares, so. And on 14 count, that makes it quite big. Yeah. That's no good. There we go. Okay, let me take a look here. I think this is just, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have one strand coming over here. I'll do another strand that comes from the other side, since it kind of divides around some blue there. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the same feather or if it's the start of another one sort of coming up underneath. Take a look here. Oh, I see, yeah. The feather kind of splits a little bit. You can see a bit of a darker color coming through. So this is the split part right about here. Oh, dear. Yeah, it's a little bit of a knot trying to form in there. That's better. Yeah, then I'm going to start another one outside. Yeah, not quite as many threads part here because it's about a half dozen colors for this area, so yeah, I think I'll be moving my frame one more time at least this month. Yeah, this is 430 and the end of the pass is at 550. Yeah, quite a lot of this color here. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of fill in sort of this area, and then I might go up to the top and sort of fill in sort of the next little sort of rib, but we'll see how far I get today. I'll do this one since it's connected on the one side. But not this one because it is not. Oh, somebody's doing some yard work or road work or something out there. Can't see it from my window, but I can hear it. Yeah, well, out here our winters are so long that you really need to get all the outside work done in the brief time that it's warm enough. Yeah. Okay, so some blue here. Yeah, they've been doing road work, but there's a really bad patch in one of the roads one of the corners coming into our road that they haven't fixed for years. And it started off as just a little spot, and now it's like a car length long. Yeah. See if they ever actually fix it. Yeah, I think maybe somebody drove on the area with chains on and there wasn't enough snow on the ground. Because, yeah, that'll eat up your concrete pretty quick. Yeah, they don't plow our street very much either. Especially now, we're not on the main route of a school, but we were sort of the next road over from one, but that school got shut down. Yeah. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the building, but yeah, they found, I think it was toxic mold inside, and yeah, basically it would cost too much to make it safe again. So yeah, I've seen like some orange construction flags on the roof and things, but they haven't, from what I can tell, done anything yet. So we'll see. They've left the playground in place, so it's still a nice little park. Yeah, we went sledding on that hill a few times when it was enough snow but not so terribly cold. Yeah, just gonna look at my printout here. Yeah, so I've got sort of 3 more of the big scales in the tail, and then that's it for the tail for this pass. And there's a bit of flowers and purple stuff next to. But yeah, I don't think I will finish his tail that's in this pass in July. I think I have 3 more sessions after this one, so yeah. We might get close, but we'll see. Really all depends. Yeah, goodness, that is very loud. Yeah, it's funny. I can never be sure it will be picked up by my camera that's in the background, because the last time they were checking the sound system, my husband and son, for the parade, and it was really loud to me, but when I was editing the video later, yeah, you basically couldn't hear it, so. But then other times, I remember it would catch my son mumbling to himself, clear as day, even from across the room. So you just never know what will pick up and what won't. And I had one time I made a video and it was raining in the background, and I didn't think it was raining hard enough to be heard on the camera, but it actually was. Yeah, so I mentioned a few months back, I think, that my grandma passed away. She was almost 92. And yeah, so recently they had a little memorial ceremony. Yeah. Scatter her ashes where we scattered Grandpa's years ago. I couldn't make it because it was far away. We're a whole province away, but yeah, my cousin did a video call and stuff, so yeah, that was kind of nice. Yeah, me and my sister and yeah, a couple of my cousins. Yeah, so my niece, my sister's kid, yeah, she graduates next June. Yeah, I was thinking it was either next June or the one after. Yeah, it's next June. Yeah, I said to her, how are we old enough, you know, have kids who are young adults. What the heck? Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think when I turned 30, I think it bothered my dad more than it bothered me. Yeah, I'm the oldest, but it's like, yeah, if my kid is 30, well, that makes me much older. Same with when my husband turned 40, I think it was. Yeah, and it was funny because my mother-in-law had forgotten. She said, she called to say happy birthday, and she said, what number is it? It's like, well, you should know. You were there, right? He's your firstborn too. But yeah, and then I said 40. She said, what? No. That was a while back though, because yeah, he's gonna be 48 this year. Definitely don't feel that old. I'm a few years younger than him, but still, yeah. Yeah, getting a little more gray. My husband's gone gray faster than me, but yeah. I think that's because I'm half Chinese. My mom didn't go gray until, yeah. I don't think she got her first gray hair until 40 something. So I was kind of shocked when I got my first gray hair at like 32. But, yeah. Just a few though. It's weird. I sort of have like this one little patch right in the front on the left side of my forehead. Yeah, there's like a dozen there, and then that's about it. I have one or two on the rest of my head. Yeah, I said, I don't know why they're all in that one little spot. And one of my friends said, yeah, she's a hairdresser, and she said 90% of the time people seem to have them sort of evenly distributed, but every now and then she'll get a client who has one little patch. And I said, yeah, I don't have a scar there or anything, because I remember we had a friend, he had almost like a skunk streak in his hair, but it was because he had sustained an injury there. And yeah, when his hair grew back in that one little patch, it was white, because I guess the injury had damaged the hair follicles. Yeah, because he said like the default color for your hair is to be white, and it gets its color as it's growing out, and basically as you get older, its ability to color your hair decreases, so they end up the gray. Yeah. Oh, that's a little, oh, there's a little tiny knot in that. Yeah, right there. I hate when it does that. Yeah, twist it a little bit, but let's see if I can undo it, or if it's tied in there permanently. Yeah. Sometimes I can pop it apart. Ah, there we go, when I managed. Good. All right. Yeah, you never know though, because I remember one of my friends, she didn't even think to bring her ID, and they carded her, and she said, oh, really? But she said, like, she's got a daughter who's, 22 or something now, right? And she's like, I mean, like, I've got gray hair. And they're like, oh, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Some people go gray very young, Yeah. And I think they have a law now that they say they card until you appear up to be like age 35. So yeah, for some people that goes quite a long time, because they don't necessarily look their age. So yeah, I got carded at like 38, and I said, oh, well, because it's 18 here. I said, well, I'm legal twice over, but thanks for the compliment. You sure you're not just trying to flatter me? Or it was funny, one of my friends, he said, they asked for ID, and he wasn't expecting it, because again, he has 4 college-age daughters, right? So yeah, he goes, oh, okay. So he starts, reaching in his pockets and pulling stuff out, and he puts his keychain on the counter, and he still has a little Blockbuster tag on it, which he just never got rid of. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, never mind. If you have that, I know you must be old enough. Because, yeah, they went out of business. Oh, sheesh. Over a decade ago, I think. I think I read that there's still like one somewhere, but yeah, the chain itself pretty much went the way of the dodo. Or there was someone who said that they wrapped the entire opening to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to prove how old they were. Oh yeah, I was watching a little video on Facebook the other day, and somebody mentioned Bunny Boiler, and the people who were the hosts making it, they said, Bunny Boiler? What does that mean? I'm like, oh man, I feel old now. I never actually watched that movie, but I'm old enough that I knew the reference, you know. Yeah. Oh, no, that is only one strand. That will not do. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's funny because I'm in a Facebook group that says, you know, explain this to me because I'm over 30 and obviously a dinosaur, yeah. So people say, you know, my teenager said this, what the heck does it mean? Yeah. Or we post little nostalgia, yeah. Somebody said they posted a picture of the frozen juice concentrate that came in the tubes or whatever, and they said, yeah, kids these days won't know the frustration of chasing this cylinder around trying to stir it in. And I said, oh, I can hear this picture too, you know, plop, yeah. I said, I think they still sell that, but it's not as common as it used to be. Yeah, or a Canadian thing is bagged milk, but we don't really have it where I am on the prairies. We did when I was a kid, but it's more of an East Coast thing now. But yeah, I was a kid and I grew up in BC. We had, and you can still buy the little jugs that are for the bagged milk everywhere. And I remember one time they would come in a little 3-pack, and I pulled the whole 3 or 4 packs of them, and I took it out and put it on the counter to get one out, and then I put it back in, and I didn't realize I left my earrings on the counter and the posts pop, yeah, but it was such a slow leak I never noticed, right? Stuck it back in the fridge, and then it wasn't until like a day later my mom goes, why is this drawer full of milk? And yeah, people asking like, how do you open it? Doesn't it just like go over? It's like, well, you don't tear it open like a bag of chips, right? You there's a little jug you put it in, and you snip the corner off and then just pour it out like that. And sometimes if you were really fancy, you would either clip or twist tie it closed, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I bought one of those little jugs when my son was little to use to help rinse his hair in the bath when he didn't want to lean back. And yeah, I had not seen bagged milk in years, but you can still buy the pitchers for it everywhere. Yeah, actually I used that little jug when I was giving the guinea pig a bath too. Worked well. Yeah, the first time I gave her one, she was not happy. She kept trying to climb up my arm to get out of the She liked being clean. Yeah. When I was drying her off, she was jumping around They do what they call popcorning. They jump all over the place. Yeah. And little jumps. It's funny because they have such short little legs. It's just little. And so they say like it looks like corn popping. So that's why it's called popcorning. Yeah. But yeah, the actual bath itself she wasn't thrilled about. The being clean she liked. Yeah, this little splash of purple and blue here in amongst all this red and orange. Yeah, so to get 3%, or I think to get my normal 8,000, I started at like almost exactly 230. So yeah, I'm at 235. So with 3 sessions left, it may be possible to get to my usual amount. I won't on my other projects. Yeah, my firefly is going to suffer this this month. Yeah, if you're following on my private Instagram page, I post pictures of it there, and I had someone who said, oh, I was afraid I wasn't going to see it because I skipped a month, but that was because I didn't make any progress on it that month, so there wasn't really much point in posting an updated picture. Yeah, so if you ever notice that it hasn't been updated, that is why. Okay, we'll see if I managed 200, although, like I said, I did do some of them off camera. Not very many, though. Yeah. It wasn't like sometimes when I've already had 200 done before I even start filming. A little bit of a knot on that one. I'll have to make sure it goes to the back. It's very teeny, but okay, just gonna take a look. Yeah, that one I think is pretty long. Okay, so I will probably do this color, and then I'm probably going to head up a little bit and continue slowly growing my way downwards. Okay, so I already have this part down below, so I'm going to park this one over to the side. So park that right there. Right. So yeah, I'm going to come up a bit here, sort of work down that way, and then because it kind of forms the shape that way, so yeah. Just keep sort of adding another layer. decided a while ago I will start a new strand for this sort of bit there. Yeah, there's so much that I would need another thread anyway, so I use separate threads for sort of separate little branches off. Is my normal method of doing it. Yeah, I think I can stitch to 200 today. Should not be a problem. guess sort of just one thin little slice at a time. Till the whole thing's filled in. Yeah, so much red here. See if this will be enough for these stitches here. I think so. Yeah, I've gotten pretty good at estimating how many stitches I'll get out of a strand. Oh, that was kind of irritating. There was one color. I had like 5 stitches left and I didn't have quite enough thread, so I had to go buy a whole new piece. Yeah. Just for 5 lousy stitches. Like, darn it. I do have it in another pattern that I haven't started yet, but it was only like 16 stitches left in that one, so yeah. Kind of annoying to have to buy a whole new thing of the thread for just a handful of stitches. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, just right. Oh yeah, we're past 200 now. Woohoo! Yeah, there's been some big blocks of color in this area, so it wasn't hard to make fairly quick progress because it wasn't very many colors. Yeah, it's the switching colors that slows me down. Okay, so then, yeah, sort of back up, add another little strip, and so on and so forth. 220. So why don't I do these two? I'll end on 222. That'll be kind of neat, huh? So yeah, probably the next time that I sit down to stitch with you all, I'll have moved my frame over again. Yeah, so like I said, I won't finish this past this month, but I might finish the tail. Not sort of the flowers and background that is next to it. Yeah, that I will finish during August, and I will have started the past number 8 out of 9. Yeah, and I believe I'll be close to 80% then, end of August. So that will be exciting. On the home stretch. Yeah, so I didn't do all stitches on camera, but I did most of them. So 222, an interesting number to stop on. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.